So here I am on my balcony again. It's a lovely Friday evening here in Kuala Lumpur, and my mind is thinking about consciousness as it often does. And I'm wondering, how can we describe consciousness? Why is that even important? And I'd like to share some of my thoughts on that with you. So, what I want to say first of all is that I think the most underappreciated factor in leadership, and what I think is going to become the most significant factor in leadership, is that it's really about elevating your state of consciousness. It's not simply about adding knowledge. Knowledge is about knowing what things are. Knowledge is like blocks of knowledge. It's not about understanding. It's not about intelligence. It's not about wisdom. These are all different terms. It's about consciousness, elevating consciousness. Well, now, why would you want to do that? Well, the simple reason is that superior states of consciousness deliver superior returns. So if you want to get better results, if you want to get much better results, you're going to need to have a new state of consciousness to be able to achieve that. Which of course leads us to the challenging question of what exactly is this thing called consciousness? Many people have said many things about this, so I will add only a little bit more to that. But I think what is particularly interesting about consciousness is that it relates to comprehension of reality and the control of causality. So let's take, a simple example of a human being. If that person was unconscious, right, in a literal sense, they would, probably be lying there and not reacting, not moving, right? But they would still be alive. And so if someone's unconscious, they are, in this definition, they are not comprehending the reality that's going on around them, and they're also not controlling the reality around them, right? They can't interface. And so I think these are particularly important things to focus on, is that what we want to do as leaders is we want to comprehend the reality that we're in, and then we want to control it so that we can achieve the goals that we set out to achieve, right? That really is what control is all about. Control is about being able to articulate a goal and then exert influence to be able to achieve that goal. And so one of the challenges I think that we're seeing in the leadership space is that we are trying to learn too much in terms of gaining knowledge, but we're not understanding how to synthesize that knowledge and understanding and wisdom and intuition and data and all the other things that are going on into a more sophisticated way of comprehending the reality that we're operating in. And we are also struggling to use the traditional tools of leadership and management to be in control, right? And I think a lot of what's come out in the last few years is people realizing that we're not actually in control, and no matter how clever you are and how hard you work, you're not necessarily going to be in more control. So a different approach is needed. It's not about building a better plan, because the world will change next week, and that plan, no matter how good it is, won't be relevant anymore. Especially, for example, given what Trump has been doing with the tariffs. It's a great example of the fact that the situation is not in control. So how do you respond to that as a leader? And what my basic answer to that is you are looking to elevate your consciousness. That's what you're trying to achieve. It's the tricky work of elevating your consciousness to specifically have a more sophisticated comprehension of the reality that you're in. Can you actually put all the different elements that you're seeing in your reality together into essentially a map? Are you able to make sense of the complex chaos to achieve a sufficient understanding, a sufficient comprehension to unlock the next level, which is control? Are you able to go out into these uncertain environments and achieve the goals that you wanted to exert the influence that you seek, right? And especially in the realization that that's not usually going to happen now in a top-down environment. So how do you exert control if the top-down models don't work? That's a lot of what I've been researching in Leaderpreneur, and will continue to be sharing with you as we go forward.